Okay, it might be a sad story to you, or maybe it's not a sad story. I've wanted to do this video for almost 2 years. Before I started, I imagined this might be a sad story to you, or maybe it won't be. I guess you would just have to listen to the whole story to find out. Let me take you through the mind state I was in. Before taking the drugs, I was lost. I guess I'm still lost. But it was one of those things where I was in such a bad place. Can't say I've left it, but I'm still in that, like, I was in a bad place, okay? And I was seeking answers. I was like, I need something to kind of take me outside of myself to see things. Um, before, let me just, okay. I wanted to do this video differently. I wanted to probably record this video with a professional, try to simulate what I felt when I had the experience. I had this envisioned idea that I would have different colors of lights and different hues. And I realized, like, waiting for the perfect time to talk about my experience might never come. So now I'm in the comfort of my own home and I'm just giving it to you raw. Anyway, back to the experience. I was in a very, very bad place and I was seeking answers. I was seeking answers. There's a guy I very much respect. I look up to him. And he was one of those people where he just did a 360. He was a club promoter and he just did a 360. He stopped promoting clubs and he started back with education, and he was always trying to tell me, oh, study this, study that, you should look into this. And he was one of those people where, when you see positive changes, you would want to know what it is they were doing to achieve that. So I asked him, what would you advise I do in this moment right now? Because I'm feeling lost, feeling very lost. Um, and then he told me about what he did. And he was like, dude, if you want to do it, I can hook you up with the person. And it's going to be one of those things where it goes good for some people or it goes very bad. It depends. It depends what kind of person you are. Um, Obviously the price as well had me very worried. I'm one of those people that I have an I have an I have an addictive personality. I have an addictive personality. So I'm always very cautious when it comes to things like this. I'm always conscious when it comes to anything that can alter the way you think. I only drink on the weekends, and even then, I don't drink that often. When it comes to weed, I only do it socially, and that's very rare. So this was a big step for me. Also, it was quite expensive. I really, really, really had to think hard about this, but I was in such a desperate position. And this had me thinking, when you see people in the streets, what got them to that stage? What were they dealing with? Where they wanted to take themselves outside of themselves and just relinquish all responsibility and yeah. Anyway, he gives me the lady's number and the lady calls, I call the lady and I tell her what it is. I tell her what I'm going through and she says, "Come down, you can do it on your own and I'll guide you." If you haven't guessed, anyway, I did ayahuasca. Ayahuasca. This is what the drug is. Um, I wish I could be the kind of guy to break it down to you and tell you what the scientific terms and ashwagandha, what ayahuasca ayahuasca is and da da da. It's DHDTM. Guys, go do your research, okay? I did. I can barely get the words out because I'm actually very nervous. Okay, so long story short, we set a date. I paid the money, and I decided to go for a group experience because I was like, you know what, doing it one on one might just be too expensive, you know what I mean? And then she also offered to do it in your own space. So she offered to do the ceremony in my own house. But I was like, if I'm in my own house, I feel like I'll be tied down to all the experiences or all the feelings. Like I feel like I wouldn't be relaxed because I'll constantly be in my space thinking, oh, you know what I mean? So I was like, I want to go to her space, take myself out of it. I remember the drive there. I turned off my phone and I just was alone with my thoughts. I was alone with my thoughts for the first time in a long time. We got there. She advised everyone to turn off their phones, but my phone was already off. So it was one of those things where it allowed me to just be me, like no outside stimuli. I was literally thinking about what I was about to partake in. I was in the I was in the moment. Some people say I was being present. I was very present. The ceremony starts. I'm skeptical. I'm thinking this is going to be some mumbo jumbo nonsense. I'm already skeptical. I'm like, I have wasted money. She passes around the ceremony cup with the ayahuasca in it. She encourages everyone to have a little sip. I'm like, no. If you know anything about me, I'm going to the max. I'm like, I want to see dragons. I want to. Did I even say prior to doing this, I have watched a lot of videos about this. I've watched a lot of like people speak about this. Someone I actually follow a lot, Joe Rogan, spoke about this. A lot of people spoke about the spiritual awakening that happened when they did this. So I was very intrigued. I was like, I want to ensure that I get that thing, you know? And I'm always the kind of person where I feel like things go right for everyone, but they don't go right for me. So I was like, this might not go right for me. So I'm going to do everything in my power to ensure it does. Okay. So I get there. She's pouring the ayahuasca in the cups. And I gulp it down. I gulp it down. I say, this must work. This must work. She says, guys, take your time. If you don't feel anything, I can pour more for you. I said, give me more. Gulp some more down. Prior to this as well, there were certain things we had to do. So obviously I had spoken to her and there was this 7-day period where I had to fast. So it was almost like I had to get myself mentally ready for something I was about to partake in. I've never had to do that for anything, you know? So for 7 days, I had to watch what I was eating. I constantly had this on the top of my mind. I kept watching stuff about it. Some people losing their mind. Some people never being the same because they just had a bad trip. Ideally, this should be done in a rainforest somewhere, you know, out somewhere where you could be secluded. I'm doing this in Stoke Newington, so I'm just like, Jesus Christ, how can this even possibly go right? So I'm on my second round now, right? I drink, I drink, I drink. I'm literally trying to get myself in the moment. I'm sinking into the sofa. When I look back on it, she did a lot. The shaman did a lot. She really did a lot. At the moment, I was like, this is nonsense. But when I look back on it, I have an appreciation for what she did. She was really, really trying. And we're talking about a ceremony that lasted 6 hours. She was blowing a supla smoke. She was blowing it on everyone's faces, on their backs, trying to cleanse their aura. I was like, this is some garbage, blah, 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 blah. And it hit me, just hit me. Boom. It was like Get Out. If you've ever seen Get Out, it's like when he just falls into the seat. I just went into the floor. It hit me. I had this warm hue all over my whole body. It was like instant. I felt warm. I was like sinking. I could now see color. I could see, I could hear color. I could feel everything. I feel like in that moment, I realized animation literally comes from that place. Like, whether it's your mind or whether it's, I don't know how to explain it. It's one of those things you have to experience. I saw everything. And I was like, okay, I'm going to go deep. I'm going to go deep. I do want to talk about, I don't want to talk about what it is I saw, because I guess that journey is my personal journey. But I remember throughout this whole 6 hours, that was the first time in years that I never touched my phone, that I never thought about my phone, that I never had to worry about the outside world. I was within my thoughts. I was deep, deep, deep within my thoughts. And yeah, I sunk, I went, you know. I could now hear the people around me screaming. I could hear people crying. And that took me out every now and again. It took me out of my zone, because obviously I'm hearing people crying and I'm like, what are you crying about, dude? I hear people singing and I'm like, Jesus Christ, your singing sucks. Like, I remember the the asshole in me just kept coming out. Like, I just couldn't control myself. Every minute I was like thinking about other people, but I said, no, 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 this is my experience. This is my moment. I need to stay deep, deep, deep inside of my moment. I need to focus on me. I need to ensure that I'm getting the most out of this. So every time I'll have those thoughts, I'll snap back. I'll go, no, 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 no. You're on a journey. Focus on your journey. I kept going in. I kept going in. It was beautiful. Yeah, it was beautiful. I was connected with myself. I felt warm. Saw things, you know, things that I was scared that I will forget as soon as I came out of this. I was like, these are those things where you do and you realize, wow, there's so much beauty in the world. There's so much beauty in our existence. And we're divine, you know? But yeah, it was one of those moments where I kept thinking to myself, damn, this is going to end at some point. This is going to end at some point, and I'm going to be back into the world. And it's just going to be shit again. Well, but anyway, I kept on the journey. They started trying to encourage us to sing. I started to giggle. I started to giggle. I was like, this is stupid. I'm actually feeling warm. I'm feeling good. And now they want us to start doing some stupid chant. And the funniest thing is, while I did that, I started to laugh. I tried to smile. I started to smile. And the chant started to make me happy, because I let go. I just let go, and I was like, I'm going to commit to the stupidity of this whole process. I am going to commit. So I started chanting. I started going with the flow. I started going stupid stuff. It was like, man, all doing it together, harmonizing. It's horrible. But it felt good. It felt good to just do it, you know? Ah, okay. Experience is over now. I'm feeling this whole new thing. Needless to say, this thing you've ingested kept me feeling a certain way, but everyone's belly was, because some people were throwing up. People were like, "Rah!" Like that, it was bad. I wasn't throwing up. Only after the ceremony did I get up, and then my whole belly just went warped. My whole belly was messed up, and then I was like, uh-oh, I need to go to the toilet. I went to the toilet. It was coming out of me from both ways. It was coming out of me from my mouth. It was coming out of me from the other end. It was like bad. It was like, I was like, yo. But in that moment, as soon as the ayahuasca came out of me, I was now clear of thought. I was now like, it was almost like the drug has left. Like, I was now clear. I was now sober. But I still felt like in the moment there was too many things I'd seen. One thing I didn't mention in this whole story was my mum just came out of the hospital on the day that I was supposed to do this. I almost was going to cancel, but I said, no, I've already paid for this. I have to go. I'm doing this to make myself better. So I remember as soon as that was over, I was like, shit, my mum. They offered us to stay the night, obviously, stay the night, feel what you're feeling, don't like, run away type thing. I was like, nope, I've got to go. I've got to go see my mum. And I remember maybe 30 minutes after the whole ceremony, I got into the car and I started driving, and I was just like, I really wish I didn't leave. I really wish I could stay in the moment. I really wish I could try to get the most out of it. But my mum, my heart, she just came out of the hospital. And, you know, one thing I saw in that whole thing was a mother looking after it was a wolf. It was a mother looking after her little cubs or whatever wolves are, like baby wolves, whatever. And it literally just had me like, oh, I need to go see her. She must be feeling very alone. All that thoughts were running through my head. So I was in a car. I was like, what if I get into an accident? What if this? What if that? So I now, in having to be extra focused, was losing all the magic I had gathered. And I remember, months after, thinking to myself, am I now going to become a better person? Am I going to have figured life out because I'd had this moment? And I can't say anything has changed. I can't say anything has changed, but I can say that I keep thinking about that moment all the time. Thoughts have gone past my mind if I would do it again. Yes, I kept saying things like it's very expensive. And she actually moved out of London, so I kept coming up with more excuses. I was like, no, maybe I just need to do it on my own. Maybe I just need to think more. Maybe I need to meditate in my own space. Maybe I need to create these things for myself, you know, take some alone time. Because that's one thing. It's like I do enjoy being alone a lot, but I realize that's not the way for us to live. But that's where I find my solace. That's why I, think. So, yeah, I think I finally got this video out after all this time. I hope it was helpful. Thanks for watching.